So it can do Bossanovas and Sambas as well as mad techno rhythms. I was trying to go for a bit of a mini pop sort of lo-fi vibe there, but it just does draw you into being meaty and fat and distorted. Anyway, in this video, I want to go through everything in a bit more detail than I have in my previous videos. I want to go through all the tones and just show you how you use it. And I should point out it comes with this really nice manual. So you can't really go too far wrong with it. It explains exactly what each of the voices do and how to use them. We've got 10 tones then. We've got a bit of a 909 style kick, although obviously these can go way beyond what a 909 can do. 808 style simple kick. This can do lots of things. 2 oscillators, snare, clap, rim and clave. Open hat and closed hat. They're like 808 style hats. Then we've got the crash and the ride, and these are samples, so we select the samples using that. And these all come through this master section here, and this just adds some really gnarly, nasty, meaty, and really beefy distortions. And on the back, we've got separate outputs for everything. But I want to just start off by showing you how you use this, because it's really simple to get up and running. If you've used any drum machine in the past, you will know what you're doing with this within seconds, really. So we'll select the pattern, pattern 6. Is there anything on there? No. So track select, kick drum. We know where we're going, don't we? So snare. We can, let's put on some open hats. Okay, let's put on some closed hats. Where are we? Grab them individually. Exclusive. So it won't play them now, will it? And fade, put a little fade between them rather than being just completely exclusive. Bit more like the 808 that. And of course we can record it all live. Again, so start. Let's put it onto step tap and go away. So hit record. We can have up to 4 bars on each of the channels. They can all have a different amount of steps. Let's put the machine, so going to the machine track, let's put that as 2 bars long. So bar 2, last step is 16 on bar 2. So this should only play every other bar now. Yeah, so pretty simple stuff there. You'll notice we've got this accent lit. If I go into the snares, so go to the snares, it's quite obvious with the snares, easier to do. So accents lit, we've got 2 different value types or 2 different step levels, quiet and loud. So let's put a little quiet one there. Make sure this is loud as well. So let's turn that down actually. And you can set this to be global. You have to be a little bit careful with the accent actually, because it can make things sound different. And I've had a couple of occasions where I was wondering why the kick that I'd made and sat there making the kick, so step tap, tweak your kick, and then you start playing it in a pattern and it sounds different. If the accent's not on, accent's on. Sounds like what I programmed. If we just listen to that. And that's because it's all going through this master section over here. So depending on what settings you've got on there, so you can hear when that gain's up and the blend's in. But we take all that off. We're still getting a bit more of a click, aren't we? Maybe it's just a bit louder, but anyway, just something to be aware of. So next up, we've got ratchets. So let's back into this kick. Let's give them all an accent. Let's go to the snare. I turned it down. Yeah. Or muted it. I was in solo mode, wasn't I? So shift solo, take the solo off. While I'm showing you that, actually, we've got mute as well. So mute. So shift for solo, no shift for mute. And you can see there's different brightnesses. So it's dull on mute and it's bright when it's on solo. Interesting with solo, it's not like on a mixing desk where you can just add to the solo, or you do with mutes, you add what's muted. If we're in solo mode, so shift solo mode, let's solo the kick and solo the snare. Now it's just solo the snare, so it solos exactly what you've hit. So if you want to solo all these together, you have to hit them all together. And that's a nice performance feature because it's different to how you use the mute. So with the mutes, you add them. So you can play it in different ways. Anyway, let's go over to the ratchets now. Let's go to the snare and let's put a ratchet on this second snare over here. So hit that, well, hit ratchet, hit this. It's on 1 at the minute. Let's have 2. There we go. Let's give it more of an accent. Ratchet on that. Let's give it 4. Really simple again. Let's take that off. Go down to 1 again. Now we've got odds and probability. And here we can set on which loop it plays or the probability of it playing at all. Let's look at that snare again. Let's hold that. We've got it on 100% at the minute. We can put it onto 50%. So about 50% of the time. And then we have, if we scroll the other way, we've got play 7 of 8 bars, 3 of 4 bars, 2 of 3 bars, every other bar. So much more predictable, and you can invert that. So instead of playing 7 out of the 8 bars, it will play just the 8th bars in the settings. So shift settings, one of these as invert. So on or off, off at the minute, but you can turn it on. And then we've got micro timing as well. So go to micro timing. In fact, let's take that probability off there so we hear it all the time. Micro timing, go to this one, let's delay it. Or bring it early. So yeah, I think that's really intuitive, really easy to pick up. To save your pattern, you go into the pattern selection, this mode here, press record, and then whichever pattern you want to save it to, and we're saved. We've got 16 banks, and each of those 16 banks has got 16 patterns in it. So bank 2 at the minute, go to bank 1, pattern select 1, pattern select 2. And if you're messing around with the pattern, you're playing live and you want to go back to the original pattern, just hit reload there. We've got shuffle and we've got roll. Let's take a quick look at roll. So shift and roll, we can change the speed of that roll. Let's leave it on 16th. We've got roll on there. Start it. Where are we? Snare. Again, really simple to use. And shuffle. So we track select, shuffle, let's do it on the closed hat, shall we? Track 8, shuffle. We just solo those actually. Not the best pattern to try that on. So let's go back into bank 2. Let's go to pattern 7. We've got nothing in there. Track select, closed hat. There we go. So shuffle. And you can have that different pair track. So yeah, I think that just about covers how you use it. Maybe just show you the config settings. So config settings, and we hit the different menus. And actually in the manual itself, we only go up to number 15, but we've actually got more than that there. Now, if we use the scroll through, we're going to the version number. So this is 16, 17, 18, 17, 16, 15. Just showing you that there's more settings than there are in the manual after this is firmware version 1.02. But anyway, let's take a look at the sounds now because that's what we're here for, isn't it? Starting off with kick drum 1 then. This is derived from the BD9 Eurorack module. BD9 sounds a bit 909-y, and that's exactly what we could start off with here. So, although we can completely change it, so we can go from like toms down to really subby lows. If we just knock this off, I'll just play you some really deep. Whoa. You will need big speakers to hear what's happening here. But that's sort of 909-ish. But then we've got the pitch decay and the decay amount. So we can do tom style sounds. And then we've got a sub. So it really does get fat and thick and dirty very quickly. Plus we've got this square. If we knock that down for a second, bring it back down to a more, something like that. Bring the square in, dirty as, isn't it? And then we've got the click down here as well. Listen to that. So you can take that to all sorts of wonderful places. And it doesn't have to be a kick because we've got a second kick. And this one's a bit more 808-ish, a bit more simple. The sounds this thing can make are just gorgeous. Taming that a bit, knocking off a bit of the decay, and having a little play with the pitch. So it has got that 808 style thing in there, but again, we can take it to so many more places. Add some tone, gives it more body or top end. Christ, that's just... I hope you're listening to this through some huge subwoofers because this is incredible. Next up then, we've got machine, and this has got 2 oscillators in it. Let's just listen to a single oscillator on its own. Start off as simple as we can go. Turn it up maybe. And we'll change the decay. So oscillator 1, then oscillator 2. This is a detune amount. So it'd be the same, be lower or higher. Turn that up. And then drop that bit. Sort of cowbellish, but it doesn't have to be. If we knock up the pitch decay and the amount, listen to just one. So super flexible. But let's go to something a bit more, I don't know, sensible maybe. Take that off for a second. Add some click. Helps it punch through a mix. And then we've got noise, so let's turn the noise up. Noise decay. And then the pitch of that noise, and it goes really digital and 8-bitty. I found that's really nice for adding some dent and some texture, especially when you're using this compressor or overdriving the compressor and you've got the master gain turned up. That really does just fill things up nicely. Just whack these up a bit. You can get really aggressive with that. Next up then is the snare. And starting off with a 909 style thing. We've got 2 oscillators again in here. This is oscillator 1 you're listening to. Let's turn the snappy off. We can change the pitch of that. We've also got a second oscillator. You can't change the pitch of that, but you can blend between them. It's gone all rim shotty, hasn't it? So add some snappy, that's the noise basically. You've got a decay on this. And then we've got a filter. So the snappy goes through the filter, this tone doesn't. And we've got high pass and band pass and different resonance. High, low and mid. Oddly, low, it says in the manual, is higher resonance than mid. So you've got mid, then low, which is higher, then mid, and then high. Again. So you can do those 808 and those 909 style snares, not identical to them, and then you can take it again way beyond that. I keep on mentioning the 808 and 909, but they're almost like a bass line, aren't they? So you can figure out where you're starting from. Next up is the clap. Again, I'm starting off with a familiar sounding benchmark. Turn this reverb off. The reverb isn't real reverb, it's simulated reverb in the analog circuits, just like it was on the 909, I think. So turn that off for now. So you've got the pitch, sustain, and that goes on forever. And then a filter, which you can turn off, come on. So just turn it down a bit. So there's loads of nice claps in there. Let's play with the reverb. So we've got internal or external. Internal brings the reverb into the filter and external is after the filter. So we bring it on internal first. Bring the filter on. Let's... An external, so it's after the filter. It sounds like bit reduction now. I should try and do like a whole patch of like bit reduced sounding crazy drums. Moving over to the rim shot. Got 3 different modes here, but we'll start off again. Something that sounds familiar. Got a filter on this. We've got low pass, band pass or high pass. So that's high pass, band pass. Then we've got a filter modulation and a modulation decay. But on this model, you can't hear it as much. On the low model, it's a bit like the high model, but low, like a standard rim. Again, just playing around really so you can hear the... But the top one, the clave, you can hear more of what's happening with the filter mod. Loads of claves and analog rims in there. It's just a shame you can't have them both because you've got tuned clave, you've got the tuned machine and the tuned kick drums. You could almost do like a set of toms or syncussion style stuff or mini pop style, little blips and blops. Coming over then to the hi-hats, and these are probably the most simple thing on here. Filter on or off. That's it. That's all you can do with the closed, the open. Turn the filter off. And this switch here, we've got them playing independently. So you can play them both at the same time. Got the exclusive, so they'll only play one or the other. And then we've got this fade, which is more like the 808. So you can hear a bit of an overlap there. You can hear the open hat closing after the closed hat has triggered. And I think that's how the 808 does it. And in the manual, it does say they're sort of based on 808 style hi-hats. But if you want 909 style hi-hats, stop talking about the 808 and the 909. Driving myself mad, but again, it's like the benchmark, isn't it? We can use the cymbals because the cymbals are samples. So if we come over to the crash and the ride, so go to the ride maybe. We select the different set of samples. So we've got 10 pairs in here. But you can theoretically put what you like in there because it is a sample. On the ride, we've got this ride loop. And if you can hear it looping, which is a bit mad. I'm not sure where I'd ever used that, to be honest. But and then the crash, similar sort of thing. Just don't have this loop. So to the dimension that you can change the decay. And because I'm slightly obsessed, well, not obsessed by the 808 and the 909s, because lots of people said all you can do on that is make it sound really dirty and nasty and distorted. You can't do clean tones. So I wanted to demo that you can. So I did some 808 style demos and some 909 style demos, but nothing will sound like a 909. And I'm doing that to make it nice and crisp and clean and to show it doesn't have to be really dirty. But nothing sounds like a 909 hi-hat except for the 909 hi-hat. So in here, I've put, let's take that off. I've put the 909 hats. So yeah, they're all the tones, they're what they sound like, and that's how you play with them. To get used to them, I showed this in a previous video. You've got patch sheets, gets you up and running. So if you want to hear these, I do have them in my last demo of this. And maybe finally, let's take a look at this master section. Starting off with something quite clean then. I'll bring in some of this master drive. Phenomenal, ain't it? And have a listen to this compressor. So, what do you think? Mid on that. Got 3 speeds, mid, fast and slow. So let's blend it in. The gain off, then gain up. Master drive as well. Completely destroying it. And what's interesting here is that you take some of the instruments out, it'll completely change or can completely change the feel of it because obviously it's bouncing up and down in different ways. takes you to places other drum machines can't reach. That's quite a phenomenal thing. If there's anything that could change on it, would be the accents. If you come into the shift here, we've got accent on or off. Where is it? It's around here somewhere. Global accent on or off. But you can't change the level of the accent. It's either on or off. It'd be nice to be able to change the level of it. And the only other thing I'd quite like on this is just another module that could create little blips and stuff like that. You've got the rim shot that can have the blips on it. Maybe another rim, or maybe something that does like tom sounds, just to get another little bit of percussiveness, another little bit of something with a bit of tuning in it would be great. But you know, that's just, you know, you always want more, don't you? But as it is, it can make a massive wall of sound on its own, can't it? So yeah, I think the only limitation is how well you can play it and practice it. It's an instrument. So yeah, I hope that was of some use to somebody somewhere. I've really enjoyed playing with this. I'm going to be hopefully maybe doing some more live stuff with it as well. I used it live in Synth East last weekend with the Erica Synths Elector 4-mans, the great big module, DIY module. That was my mates, and took that down. Really good fun. Amazing playing with this though. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. So as I say, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was of some use to somebody somewhere. If it was, please do subscribe, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon. I've got patches, samples, tutorials, other little bits and bobs on there. And do take a look at my starskycarr.com website. Again, patches, I've got samples, maybe interesting bits up there for you, but any little bit that you purchase all does help to support the channel. So thanks for staying to the very end, and I will see you next time.